Morning everybody, CW here. So I'm going to attempt my first project with something that I wanted to do for a while and hadn't done, but I'm well on my way. I didn't film the whole thing because I figured it would be a little more difficult than it actually was, but I can go through everything and tell you what I did. Putting a snake medallion on a set of grips really was pretty easy. You can buy these on eBay or direct from the store, and you can even get them on Amazon. And I want to say they're about 40 bucks a pair, so 20 bucks a piece for these. I bought a right and a left kind of stupidly. I probably should have just bought one or two for one side, because I'm not going to put them on both sides. I just think it's silly. I don't need them on both sides. But basically they're supposed to be a silver snake. I doubt they're really silver for 40 bucks. But they're some kind of pot metal, and they resemble silver. And they come with these little pegs on the back. And basically what I did was I positioned it on the grip. Let me grab it and I'll do the other side, show you. Because this side is obviously done. So you get a instruction sheet. Doesn't say the manufacturer on here, but it's a pretty good instruction sheet. Gives you, size drills and things to do. And here's the opposite side. And one tip I'll give you is make sure it bends pretty easy. So get yourself a pair of needle nose pliers, and you may want to cover the tips up with tape or something to keep them from marring, because it's not that soft, but it's fairly soft. I don't know if you can notice it, but the snake's tongue here is bent. So we'll bend it back. See, it's that easy. Bend it right back. And you'll find that when you put it on, the head will lift up, or this corner will lift up, or it won't quite be perfect. But you want to make sure that the reason that it's not laying flat is because it's bent, and not because one of your holes that you're going to drill is not deep enough, or not fully seated before you go crazy. So just really go easy and be conscious of everything that you're doing. Also, make sure that all these pins are straight, and just go through and make sure that they're all perpendicular, straight up and down. Because when you drill your holes in your grip, so let's pull this off and put this away. Let's go to the other side as if we're starting off brand new. You want to make sure that it sits where you want it to, and it looks aesthetic to you. And obviously you can't do something crazy like this, because it's not gonna fit right. So you gotta, position it square on the grip. Get the head up there where you want it. And this one's actually better square than the other one was for me. When I put the other one on here, these 4 pegs sat nice and the head was lifted up. But like I said, it bends easy. Just go really slow and easy. So to start out, you just press this down until you get a mark in your grip from the end of the peg. And then, put this on your drill press nice and flat. Make sure it's flat. Go off the side of the frame here, and drill your hole. 7/64 is what I use. What do they recommend here? Yeah. They say actually start with a 5/64, but when I measured the pins, that gave me a little more leeway. Now, don't worry about it being a perfect fit for the pin. You want it to be a little bit bigger because you want to have, a little bit of room to move it around to make sure that all these pins align with each other. They're not going to. You're going to be, your drill's going to walk a little bit. So having a little larger hole helps you get this positioned. And it's not a big deal. Don't worry. Even if you drilled everything perfect and you put it on here and the thing went like this, clunk, 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 clunk in your holes, it wouldn't make any difference at all because you're going to epoxy this down. And that little bit of room that's allowing it to move is room for the epoxy to get in there. And it's room to, give it a nicer, tighter fit. So put this on your grip. Find a position that you like. And press on it or tap on it with a hammer to make a mark. Don't worry about getting all of them. Get one or two, drill it, position the peg in that one hole that you have drilled. Make sure that everything lines up where you want it. With it in that hole, with the one peg in the one hole, tap on your next hole. Push down, tap on your next hole. And then drill that hole. And then put two of them in two holes. And then work on your third hole, making sure that you're not twisting, making sure that everything is where you want it. So you're probably going to have to push it down in the hole and then pull it back up and push it down and pull it back up and align it so that it's just where you want it to be. And then drill your third, fourth, and fifth hole. It's got 5 holes. And once you get all your holes, make sure they're deep enough. You're going to find that some of your holes may drop down on the frame because we're not taking the grip off here. We're doing it with it on the gun. For me, I did it because this is a one-piece grip. This grip is one piece for both sides. So to take this one off, it's a bigger deal. This is fit to the gun, one piece. So I did it on the gun. And you can't really see. This one goes all the way through. And all the rest of these stopped on something. So don't go horsing and pressing. And you see on this one here, it's a little bit oblong because I didn't drill it quite where it's supposed to. Not going to hurt a thing. You're never going to see it again after I put that on. So you get it all drilled. Then you start bending and adjusting to make sure it sits down where you want it. Make sure it's as close to the grip everywhere you can. It's not going to be perfect. Okay, it's going to be high in spots. You're just not going to stop it. But you can fill it in afterwards. After you glue it down, you can go back and, hold the gun up at an angle with the grip, with it glued on, hold the grip up at an angle and put a little bit of epoxy or a little bit of something in there, and just set the gun up so it doesn't tip over and let it sit there and let that dry. And you can go back in with a razor knife or with a Dremel or something and clean it off so that it looks good. All right, so there we go. So now let's go back over to this side. Let's put this one away because this is the other side we're not going to use. And then once you get it all positioned and laying down like you want it, lightly go around the outside with a razor or something very, very fine. You don't need to make a big line, but just go all the way around the whole outside so you get an outline. You're not going to see it. You be real careful. It's very light. Don't worry about it. But that's going to show you where you need to burnish because you want to create a little bit of tooth for that epoxy to stick to. And if you've got a finish on your gun, on your stocks, that epoxy may not make it through that. So it's only going to stick to that varnish. So it's as good as that varnish, coating, whatever you've got on your grips is adhered to the grips is as good as this is going to be stuck to your gun. So if you can get down to the wood, you're going to allow that epoxy to soak into the wood fibers and get a better grip. And the same thing for the back of your emblem here. You want to burnish that up too. See, this is the way they come. It looks to me like this one here, they they moved the pins on. The other side didn't have it that way. But doesn't matter. It's on the underside and it's going to be covered. And then just burnish it up. Give it some tooth. Scratch it up so the epoxy sticks. So our next step now, because we're all set, this is sitting on there just the way I want it. It's nice. I've got a little bit of a gap right here that I really don't care for. And this does push down a little more than what you can see. And I'm going to squeeze it down with a clamp. And it'll squeeze down a little tighter than what you're seeing. And then I'm going to come back and do what I said. I may put a clamp down here and another clamp up here, because I do have a little bit of a bend here that I didn't quite get the way I wanted. So I may do that just to make sure that I get it down. Excuse me, coughing still hurts. Coughing like fitting the way I want. And you can see that I talked about the holes alignment. You can see I got a little bit of wiggle. Not going to mean anything. It's actually a good thing. Gives the epoxy a place to go. All right, so I've rambled here for about 10 minutes. I'm going to mix up some epoxy. I'm going to put this on. I'm going to clamp it. And I'm going to let it sit for whatever time the epoxy cure is. And then I'll come back. I may snap some pictures of it clamped so you can see it. But when I come back, it'll be glued on, and then we can go from there. So stand by. For you, it's going to be an instant. For me, it's probably going to be maybe 12 or 24 hours. And just like that, we're back. For you, it's been, what? Split second. For me, I'm going to say probably about 10 hours. Started this morning. Right after breakfast, I got down here, so maybe not quite. Maybe more like 7 hours, 8 hours. But I was able to put 2 clamps on it and finagle a little. I had to do a little extra finagling to get it acceptable. And it still really needed to be bent a little bit more, like this. Just not quite enough for this particular grip contour. But what I did was I favored the back side. So the bottom here is really good. The whole back, as you can see, it's really nice and tight. The whole head, really nice and tight up against the grip. All really good. I favored it to, I've got a little bit of a gap in here. Now I'm going to go back and fill that and see what I can get. Possibly I can pinch it, bend it a little bit, but I'm worried about, more on the other side of the grip. So I don't want to do that. So I'll probably just fill it because, excuse me, it feels really good in the hand. It feels really, really good in the hand. And that's what's most important. Is it going to be a problem when you're shooting it? And it's not. It rolls nice. It rolls back nice. Everything's all nice and smooth. Nothing sticks up. Even the fork tongue lays down really nice. A little bit of epoxy come around it, so it smooths it out nice. And I got a little bit of epoxy coming in a couple spots. May or may not do anything with it. We'll see. But overall, I'm really happy with it. I think it looks really good. And that's that. The gun here is an older Uberti. I believe this was the first Cattleman, but you don't find them very often with a case-colored frame and a brass grip. So if somebody changed this before I got it, I'm not really sure. But this one here was brought in by Mitchell Arms, made by Uberti. Single action Army model 45 Colt. Single action Army model. That's all it says. 4 1/2 inch barrel. So that's that. All right, guys. I hope you like it. I didn't see many videos on this. All the movie buffs are gonna really love it. They know it's Clint Eastwood's Snake, and it's pretty cool. I like it. Like I said, I always wanted to do it, and now I've done it. A little more filling just to please myself, but you know, for all intent and purposes, it's done. The epoxy was really well set. I peeled it off the cup, and it was hardened all the way through, so it's as hard as it's going to get. I like to use plastic cups like you get for pudding, little puddings, single serving puddings or something like that. And then you turn it upside down. And most plastic things, when you turn them upside down, you get a dish. See, this is unique. Case lube, you get a dish. And also the plastic doesn't really stick good. The epoxy doesn't really stick good to it. So you dump out your two parts, you mix it up, it gives you a little dish, it holds it there. You scoop it out, you put it on whatever you're using it on, and you just set it aside on your bench. Just let it hang out. Put the toothpick or whatever you're using to spread it, stick it in it. And it's an excellent test to know when that epoxy is fully cured. And you can usually pop it right out and tell on the underside, on the inside, where no air is hit. You know, epoxy dries by chemical, the two parts. So it doesn't need air, oxygen to cure. But it's still nice to know when you pop it over, you can feel the underside and it's just as hard as the top. And how you pop it off is it's plastic. So, of course, this is full. I can't do it. But if it was empty, you just stick your thumb on the inside and invert this concave to a convex, and poop, the epoxy pops right off. And you get to use this again for your next project. So if you got kids, or if you're a kid yourself and you like those little puddings and different things, it still hurts to take a deep breath. Save the cups and throw them on your bench and use them for mixing epoxies and stuff like that. All right, guys. Glad you stopped in. I hope you enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty neat. God bless everybody. CW out.